Hey, welcome to CryptoCoach365. It's day 119, I think. Might be 120. There's too many of these. Long day today. I apologize if I look a little ruffled. I've been working all day on the airplane. My hair is looking curly, and this is kind of what it looks like if I don't do anything with it. It's kind of naturally has this curl, which I really hate because it's a pain in the butt to maintain. But anyway, plane progress doing pretty well. The fuel tanks that I showed last time we were working here, where we put in the baffles and painted them out, those are all done, and the covers on top of what's called the strakes, which are the first portion of the wings that's attached to the fuselage, where the rest of the wings are attached to, they are now covered up. So that part of the fuselage is pretty much done. There's little windows in the back that are made that are done. Extra space for fuel tank is all done. So really most of the upper part of the airplane is now completed. So what we did today was actually had a bunch of guys drive by from another portion of the factory, and all like 8 of us or so picked up the entire airplane, took it outside, and then flipped it over. So like if this is the back of it, we kind of put it down on foam and then just kind of leaned it all the way up and then brought it way back down. Now it's upside down, and we carried it back in and put it up on supports. So now that it's upside down, we can cover and sand all the parts that are on the roof of it, the underside of the wings, and the underside, the roof part of the little window, the back window areas. Plus any kind of thing that are on the bottom of the plane, like there's an intake event for the oil cooler and probably other stuff. Oh, and the landing gear too. So most of tomorrow will be basically sanding that down, but for now it's just sanding out and prepping all the parts that are supposed to be covered up with fiberglass later on. So sanding, cutting, more sanding, more sanding, more sanding, and we are totally covered in fiberglass. It's really prickly. Like if I was in the sun, you could actually, if you look at my black jeans, you could see that they were all kind of sparkly. But, you know, first day of this ouch prickle stuff, and then the rest of the week is just going to be fiberglass and, fiberglass, but like fiberglass sheets and epoxy, as opposed to all the sanding is fiberglass flying all over the place. So hopefully it'll be a little better. I hurt my finger a little bit because I was using a sander and I just like touched my finger and it just took a chunk out, tiny little scrape, but still hurts. Anyway, yeah, progress going well. Unfortunately, it seems like at this point, maybe December will be the time when the fuselage area is, the fuselage of it is done, as opposed to the whole thing is done. And then after that, it'll be taken to the next area where the engine will be hooked up, all the electronics and avionics will be hooked up and wired up, and then all the interior will be done, and then I'll finally be able to test fly it around for a bit. And after all the flight testing is done for the first 40 hours, then I have to paint it. And then after the paint is done, then finally the whole plane will be done. So now I'm thinking, like, if it gets done by December, excuse me, with the fuselage part of it, maybe by March I'll actually have a working plane. So we'll see, which will be about a year worth of work, which is kind of what it's expected, what they claim would be expected if you were doing the whole thing yourself. About a year worth of labor. I was hoping it'd be a little bit faster because I'm getting it, I'm working at a factory and getting people to help me out, but oh well, sorry about that. It's a lot of fiberglass, and I'm wearing a mask, but it's still kind of bugging me. Anyway, with regards to crypto though, there's been a kind of a technology that's been in the works in the background called Sidechains, or there's a variation of that called drive chains, which I'm not really sure what the difference is between drive chains and sidechains is. It seems to work pretty much the same. But the general idea is that Bitcoin has its own blockchain where there's a series of blocks of transactions all linking one after the other. And sidechains would be a way to have another, like you have your main chain go through, and you can have another chain kind of split off and go parallel to it, where all the coins on one chain, your bitcoins, get locked up and get created on the other chain, and then on the other chain, when they're destroyed, they get unlocked in the first chain. So in a way, it's like you have two chains, and you can move your bitcoins between those two chains. And the benefit of that is that the second chain can actually have totally different software, totally different rules, and totally different codes. So you can have the main chain be as it is right now with like 1 megabyte blocks and kind of limits on what it can do. But then a side chain, you can have that be all kinds of different things. Like you can have it have bigger blocks, you can have it do different kind of anonymity built in. You can have all kind of experiments being done into that blockchain software, because you know that and the Bitcoin will still be worse than Bitcoin, because you know that Bitcoin that's floating around in that side chain can always be brought back onto the main chain. So in a way, instead of a single blockchain as Bitcoin works on right now, what sidechains or drive chains will allow it to do is to have Bitcoin run on multiple blockchains at the same time. So you can even split up resources. If there's too many Bitcoins on a single chain, you can kind of break them off and have them run on a parallel chains to kind of what should I call it? Get some of the resources and the hardware and the networking a bit of a relief and spread it around. And these things are finally coming out of beta. It was announced later this evening by Paul Stork, who has been working on them for a while. So we're finally going to see how that works. So we have side chains or drive chains to kind of spread the network a little bit around, where you can have multiple Bitcoins and multiple blockchains. And we'll have a Lightning Network to make transactions a lot faster, where we actually take them off the Bitcoin network itself, so it's like a second layer. So all different ways to make the system a lot more optimized and a lot more advanced, I guess. I'm actually mostly even more so looking forward to the side chains, because unlike Lightning Network, which still kind of depends on the Bitcoin blockchain itself, side chains will actually allow anybody to kind of create beta or test versions of the Bitcoin blockchain without actually touching the original blockchain. So we can have all kinds of different, like even different hashing algorithms or different ways to transact money, where that money still holds its value because it's still technically Bitcoin. But anyway, definitely looking forward to that. For now, I'm just gonna finish up and get ready for tomorrow. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. More work on the plane then, and I'll add some videos at the end of this video too. See ya.